Working in the shop today solo and back on the mighty RockHopper. Last time, right before I left, I hit shifters with some one-step. First, I'm just going to try the shifters, so you're seeing this the same time I am. So I hit this and let it sit and just kind of walked away. So here's the rear. That is pretty amazing. So sometimes magic happens, and that's pretty much it. So just I hit it with this stuff, just flooded it both sides, let it sit, and it's just amazing that this stuff can penetrate. Basically, these things get gummed up, right? Especially they've been sitting, and this stuff cleans it, lubricates it. Let's see if I have the same luck on the front shifter here. A little hesitation, but not bad. There it goes. Kind of like that. Sweet. All right. So I'm looking at this chain, and suddenly I'm filled with hesitation. I'm wondering, here's my chain checker tool, CC 3.2. So what you do is you drop the 0.05 in first, and if it doesn't fall, like that doesn't fall, that's good. Let's try the upper bit too, just in case. So there, and boy, that looks like it's pretty new, really. It really is just not showing a lot of wear, it's just showing rust. So maybe I'm gonna try to hit this with one step too, see if I can get some of this rust off. It's not shifting terribly as it is. And now that I've checked that, I'm thinking maybe it's more of an aesthetic than a functional issue. So what the heck? Let's try this. So I'm just going to take this rag and throw it on the ground here and underneath, because it's probably going to get messy. I mean, what the heck? Stuff is not that expensive, and maybe it'll work some magic like it did on the shifters. Worst case scenario, we'll have a well-oiled chain for the metal recycling. Last little bit here. I'm gonna hit this with a little wire brush. See if we can get it a little happier, a little more functional. One of the things that I'm paying attention to is that this lowest gear here, see how the chain doesn't really want to stay on there? You see that? Right down in here. So what I want to do is adjust my limit screws. And those limit screws are hard to see. So here's an extra bit of light. And I'm hoping you can make out right there is an H, and right down here is an L. So L is for low gear. So what I want to try to do is back this out, which should bring the derailleur that direction. So I'm just going to turn it outwards. And see if that is going to now make it sit a little better. Usually you don't need to turn it much, but let's try that. Well, that looked pretty good. Right now you can see it sitting up in there. Let me do some more shifting. Got to put this light down. I like it. I'm gonna put this little cover back on back down here. So that's looking pretty good. All right. Look at those brakes, just feeling good about that. This is the rear disc, and it was, you can see as I'm turning the wheel, it's pretty good. And what I'm looking for is it keeps spinning even after it stops spinning. In other words, it starts to drift backwards a little bit. This is just a headlamp we have in the shop, and I find that if I can see in the back, so I'm just shining it right up in the caliper. Can you see how there's light coming on both sides? That's what I want. So if I spin this, you'll see it's shifting a little bit. Part of it's my hand, because I'm not holding it perfectly. So a lot of it is that the disc itself isn't perfectly true, but is it true enough? Right, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be close enough, at least for my tastes, that yeah, there's plenty of pad left on the brake pads, and also that the wheel there, did you see that? Just kind of settle, just give it a nudge here. See how it spins backwards a little bit? That's what I'm looking for. Grip time. So clearly, we got a grip issue. So these are standard bars, so I think they're 22 millimeters. These are nice new grips, but the problem with these are they're a little short. So ideally the grip goes all the way to the brake lever or the shifter, depending on how this is configured and what you got here. I could move everything over, that would be okay, except that the bars are older, and so you're going to really see a color change and that's been done. So even though these are new and I like them, I've got this pair here, which they're not as good looking, but they're serviceable, and you can see they're a little longer. And we're not dealing with a new bike here, and I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker for the new owner. So I'm going to go with these guys. And the way I like to do this is I just take rubbing alcohol. I don't know what matters what the percentage is, and I'm just squirting some down in there. And this is already clean, and then it slides on nice and easy. and it'll evaporate, and when it does, then it'll be nice. And I'm just turning it while I can easily, so this is facing upwards, the cleaner part is up, so router sees when it's clean. And same thing here for this one. Just getting some in there, being liberal. It evaporates, right? So it doesn't really matter. And I have found that if I'm not liberal with it, then it's hard to get on. And same thing, I'm just having this face upward. Quick and easy on that. I just flip this around in the stand because this hydraulic brake line here, it's a little loose. Now you can see this front one here, it's got a clamp on it, that's good. But this one here, not. And also notice that whoever mounted this rack, it's not the nicest rack, but it fits and it sits pretty solid. So we're gonna leave this rack on for the next person who owns it. But this routing here is not acceptable. So I'm gonna fix that and just get some zip ties and get this in there so we won't hear any chatter. This is a 4mm bolt. My first thought was, oh, it's a 5. It's not. All I'm doing is taking this one here and just gonna tuck it on the inside. I don't know what they were thinking about when they mounted this. It's such a nothing thing, but you don't want to have that brake hose on the outside of that. And as long as I got it loosened, I'm just gonna take just a little bit of my tri-flow. Here's my tri-flow, beautiful label on that bottle. And I'm just gonna drop a drop on the threads there. It's penetrating, so I'm sure it's finding its way back inside. Okay, so let's move on and get these mounts attached. So these are just some small zip ties. About the smallest ones you can get. And I think it'll be fine. So I'm just gonna thread this through and then I think it's called a zip tie because of the zippy sound it makes. See how I'm tucking the head back in there, and I'll trim it in a second. And same thing with this one here. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a little concave. It's absolutely designed to do just that, but we don't have the proper factory clips for it, which is no big deal. Just taking this. Maybe it's a zip tie because it's just a zip to use. I don't know. Someone out there must know the answer to that. Do I think too much? Oh, sometimes. But that feels a lot better, looks better. And, I do have a pair of flush cut pliers at home, which I clearly don't have here, so that. Notice how I'm not cutting into the brake hose, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna do a little cleaning. As you can see, the tread pattern here which is arrow-like, is facing the back of the bike. It should be going toward the front of the bike. So that's a problem. We'll deal with that. Gonna put a rear reflector right back here. It's cleaner. It's not quite where I want it, but it's pretty good. So we like to send bikes out fully reflected. So we got reflector on the front, reflector on the rear wheel, reflector here, and I'm gonna match that with this one. Same shape. And I think I've shown you this before. We've got just a ton of reflectors, and we just like to send people out with some safety. And absolutely, there's a school out there that's anti-reflector, anti-light, anti-safety. I'm definitely not in that. So it looks like, okay, see how this works? See how it's tilting up a little bit? So that's kind of how you want that to sit. And it's just one screw here. Leaving just enough room so I can still get it off and on the stand. It occurs to me that I'm also going to want to put a kickstand on here. Again, we're just trying to, when we get a bike out to the public, we just do these kind of basic things. That feels pretty good. Of course, the question I have is, will I be able to now lower it? Let's try. Oh, it's close. See, it's close. Yeah. All right. So, another day for the Mighty Specialized. And I think we got one more installment, kickstand test ride, and final clean. Oh, and I'm gonna reverse that tire. I think that's everything. Famous last words.